ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Bhagavad Gita means the song of the divine. It's a conversation between the Supreme Person, God, Sri Krishna, and an ordinary person, Arjuna. Arjuna has entered a huge life crisis where he feels cornered by life itself. He cannot see any way to act that will be justifiable or that would lead to good result. He feels cornered by life itself. He feels desperate and confused. Therefore, he turns to his friend Krishna for advice, and Krishna then becomes Arjuna's teacher. Krishna shares with Arjuna both material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. One can say the totality of knowledge. And after having received this, Arjuna's confusion is cleared, and he manages to take a decision by which he is confident will lead to good result, not only for him, but for all of humanity. Already from the beginning, it was clear that Bhagavad Gita was not spoken only to Arjuna. It was spoken through Arjuna to humanity at large. It's meant to benefit all of humanity. And just as Arjuna, we, during the course of our lives, will also meet with difficult challenges, ethical dilemmas, despair, loss, confusion. Bhagavad Gita is there to offer us guidance by which we can elevate our consciousness and get more clarity as well as happiness. It offers a framework for solving dilemmas. It teaches us who we are at the core level, what is the right type of action, and what is the goal of life. Goal of life, you may ask? Yes, there's a goal of life. According to the Vedic tradition and body of literature, of which Bhagavad Gita is a part, there is a meaning and a goal to life. Also, there is a tradition that has been practiced for thousands and thousands of years of yoga, meditation, selfless service, scriptural studies, contemplation, prayers, and many men and women have reached very deep spiritual insights on the goal of life. So we don't have to fall for this nihilistic propaganda that is given to us by this modern civilization, that do whatever culture. Life is short. Just try to squeeze out whatever enjoyment you can get, no matter if it's at the cost of the well-being of other living entities. And that will be a successful life. If these ideas are presented to us through the dominant culture, we should be very wary to what the reason and the motivation may be. Could it be to make money out of us? To make us silent, addicted customers? We are bombarded daily with distractions and entertainment and media and social media, and so many artificial needs are sold to us. So much that we forget to ask the important questions in life. One spiritual master, he called this the weapon of mass distraction. In my country, it is very common. I have heard, don't ponder so much upon existential questions. You will go mad. Or you have problems, just take a pill. I'm not saying that psych pills are bad. There is a place, person and circumstance for taking psych pills, and they can help people to manage their daily life if there's a psychiatric condition. But psych pills should not be used to cover up the problems of a very materialistic and nihilistic culture. Karl Marx, the German philosopher who is one of the founders of communism, he used to say that religion is the opium of the people. But actually, materialism is a far worse opium of the people. Karl Marx said this because he thought that people get more insensitized to progressive change in society and that they legitimize injustices with religion. And of course he has a point. This happens and has happened in unhealthy expressions of religion. But keep in mind, think about those societies that have kicked out religion. For example, communist society or very, very secular societies. we still have a problem with people exploiting other people in those societies. So, was the problem really religion, or is it a problem that is more deep-rooted in our human hearts? This is a very good question to ask, because if it's a problem of our hearts, it's a spiritual problem, and we need to solve it with a spiritual process. Today we see a rampant opium of materialism in the world. We daily get drenched in material stimuli, and material desires in all different forms and shapes are aggressively sold to us, so much that we forget to ask the important questions of life, and we may even miss to fulfill the meaning and the goal of life. I would like to illustrate this with a recent example. This Christmas holiday I was spending with my sister and her family, and at Christmas Eve we were watching a movie that they were showing on one of the commercial Swedish television channels. It was a good movie, it had a really inspiring and interesting story. The movie was 2 hours something long, but it was interrupted at least by 1 hour of commercials. And during these commercial breaks, it was like a loop of commercials, starting with online casino, going to SMS loan, and then coming to whiskey. So this went on and on and on. At one point I felt really uneasy, and I told my sister, look, I really feel like the television here is a vicious cult leader trying to brainwash me into destroying my own life. So it's obvious that the television many times is just a propaganda machine for consumer capitalism, and that it doesn't care for us to be thoughtful or careful with our own lives. In the Vedic tradition from India, the ancient tradition from India, being thoughtful was encouraged, and to ask existential questions was encouraged. This was called Brahma Jigyasa, inquiry into the absolute truth. And it was considered a sign of human intelligence. Not only was it considered a sign, it was expected by humans to do this. And if we don't use this capacity of ours, we are really wasting the great opportunity that it is to have a human body, mind, and intelligence where we can ask these kind of questions. Such existential questions may be, what will happen after death? Did I exist before I was born? Who am I at the core of my being? Why am I and other people suffering? What is true happiness? What is this reality all about? What is the right type of action? Is there a goal to life? Etc. Scriptures, Vedic scriptures, are there to guide us. Together with spiritual association and spiritual process, we can get answers to some of these questions. The answer will not come to us only in an intellectual format, because they require a transformation of our consciousness. But just to come back to the point I made earlier about the modern culture, the modern Western culture, where we are encouraged not to ask existential questions. Honestly, I am of the conviction that if there's a question, there's an answer. We are limited beings with limited capacity, intellectual capacity. We cannot inquire beyond reality. We cannot even think of a question which is beyond reality, to which there's no answer. So there's a question because there is an answer. And Bhagavad Gita is a very good starting point to look into those questions. So I mentioned it gives knowledge both about material energy as well as about spiritual energy. So it teaches us how to synthesize our material life with our spiritual life. It's a really good and handy book to study. I know that Bhagavad Gita has helped me a lot, so much. I used to feel that things just happened to me randomly. Now I understand that if I come in a good consciousness, with a good attitude, I can also influence how things happen to me and how I reciprocate and how others are affected by me and my energy and my activities. So it has helped me a lot. This has also reduced, for sure, my existential anxiety. So it has been my the foundational book for my spiritual practice the last 18 years. And 18 years might sound as a long time. It's really not that long. And honestly, I have been also quite slack. I could have been much more disciplined and deep and sincere in my spiritual practice, but somehow I'm hanging on to it. And I do have faith in Bhagavad Gita's power to guide me and humanity at large. And this is why I'm doing this course, Bhagavad Gita for everyone, because I'm confident that Bhagavad Gita has something for everyone, regardless of our background or our current situation.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,